The uninvited guests. The stars above Earth looked peaceful that Tuesday morning, but Captain Marcus Chen knew better. Standing in the command center of Orbital Defense Station Terra Shield, he watched the massive alien fleet materialize at the edge of the solar system. Each ship was larger than anything humanity had ever built, their surfaces covered in geometric patterns that seemed to shift and move like living things. "Captain, we're counting over 300 vessels," Lieutenant Sarah Rodriguez reported from her station. Her voice remained steady despite the fear everyone felt. "They're moving in perfect formation toward Earth." Marcus studied the tactical display. 300 ships against Earth's 40 defensive vessels. The math was simple and terrifying. "All stations, maintain defensive positions. Let's see what they want before we start shooting." The lead alien ship was enormous, easily 10 kilometers long. Its hull gleamed with a metallic substance that reflected light in impossible ways. Energy fields danced across its surface like aurora borealis trapped in metal. As it approached, every communication system on Terra Shield activated simultaneously. A figure appeared on the main screen. The alien stood 3 meters tall, its body covered in crystalline scales that changed color with each movement. 6 arms extended from its torso, each ending in delicate fingers that moved constantly. Its head was elongated, with 3 eyes arranged in a triangle formation. When it spoke, the voice came through in perfect English, though its mouth never moved. "Primitive species of the third planet," the alien began, its tone carrying absolute authority. "I am Overseer Krextal of the Stellar Dominion. We speak for the civilized galaxy. Your isolation ends today." Marcus stepped forward, knowing every word would be recorded for history. "This is Captain Marcus Chen of Earth Defense Command. We welcome peaceful contact with other species. How can we help you?" The alien's 3 eyes blinked in sequence, a gesture that might have been amusement. "You misunderstand, Primitive. We are not here to negotiate. We are here to integrate you into proper galactic society. The Stellar Dominion has ruled this galaxy for 10,000 years. Every intelligent species serves under our guidance." "Serves?" Marcus asked carefully. "Your planet contains valuable resources. Your population will provide necessary labor for Dominion projects. In return, we offer you protection from the dangers of space and access to technology beyond your current understanding." Krextal's scales shifted to a deeper blue. "You will dismantle your military forces immediately. Your governments will accept Dominion administrators. 60% of your population will relocate to labor worlds we have prepared. The remaining humans will maintain your planet for resource extraction." The command center fell silent. Every person present understood what was being offered. Slavery dressed in pretty words. Dr. James Park, Earth's lead xenobiologist, whispered to Marcus, "Captain, they're not even trying to hide it. They see us as property to be claimed." Marcus nodded slightly, then addressed the alien. "Overseer Krextal, we need time to discuss your proposal with our world leaders." "You have 1 rotation of your planet," Krextal replied. "We have been more than generous. Most species are given 1 hour." The transmission ended. Marcus immediately opened a channel to Earth Command. President Elena Volkov appeared on the secure link, along with the leaders of Earth's major nations. "You heard everything?" Marcus asked. "Every word," President Volkov replied grimly. "They want to enslave our entire species." General Tanaka from the Japanese Defense Force spoke next. "Our military analysis shows their technology is at least 500 years ahead of ours. Their shields could probably withstand our nuclear arsenal." "So we surrender?" asked Prime Minister Williams from the British Commonwealth. "Never," President Volkov said firmly. "We didn't survive world wars, pandemics, and climate disasters just to become alien slaves. Captain Chen, what do you recommend?" Marcus looked at his crew, seeing the same determination in their eyes that he felt in his heart. "We fight, not the way they expect, but the way humans have always fought when outnumbered. We get creative." Over the next 20 hours, Earth transformed into a fortress. Every military asset was mobilized. Nuclear weapons were retrieved from storage and loaded onto ships. Engineers worked frantically to modify weapons and create new defensive systems. Most importantly, hackers and communication specialists began broadcasting everything to the galaxy on every frequency they could find. "This is Earth calling all beings who can hear us," the message began. "The Stellar Dominion wants to enslave us. We choose to fight. We choose freedom. If you're listening and you're not free, know that someone is finally saying no." In factories across the planet, workers stayed at their posts, building weapons and ships. Children were moved to underground shelters. Volunteers flooded recruitment centers wanting to defend their world. Humanity had faced extinction before, but never from the stars. Dr. Amelia Foster, working in a classified laboratory, made a discovery while analyzing the alien transmission. Their ships use a quantum communication network. If we can disrupt it with electromagnetic pulses, we might confuse their coordination. Engineer Thomas Wright had another idea. Their shields are designed to stop energy weapons and projectiles, but what about simple physics? What if we just ram them with ships filled with nuclear weapons? These ideas spread through Earth's defense network. Humanity would not fight with honor or rules. They would fight to survive. 20 hours after first contact, Marcus stood on the bridge again. The alien fleet had moved closer, surrounding Earth in a sphere of metal and energy. Every weapon on every alien ship was powered and aimed at the planet below. "Open a channel to the Overseer," Marcus ordered. Krextal appeared again, its scales now a confident gold color. "Have you prepared your surrender primitives?" "I have Earth's answer," Marcus replied. He straightened his uniform and looked directly at the alien. "Overseer Krextal of the Stellar Dominion, on behalf of all humanity, we must respectfully decline your offer. We will not disband our military. We will not accept your administrators. We will not relocate our people. We choose freedom, whatever the cost." The alien's scales flashed through several colors rapidly. "You dare refuse the Dominion? We have conquered 1,000 species. Your weapons cannot even penetrate our shields." "Maybe not," Marcus said calmly, "but we're going to try anyway. You want to see what humans are made of? You're about to find out." He cut the transmission and turned to his crew. "All ships, all stations, prepare for battle. Today we show the galaxy that humans would rather die free than live as slaves." The alien fleet began to move, their weapons charging with energy that could vaporize moons. Earth's small fleet of 40 ships looked like toys in comparison, but in those ships were humans who had decided that some things were worth dying for. The battle for Earth's freedom was about to begin, and the entire galaxy was watching. Little did anyone know that this moment would be remembered as the day everything changed. The day a primitive species looked at impossible odds and said one word that would echo across the stars forever: never, the price of freedom. The first shot came from the Dominion flagship, a beam of pure energy that could have split a mountain. It struck Earth's defensive shields and dissipated harmlessly. For a moment, both fleets paused in surprise. Earth's shields held. "How?" Krextal demanded from his command throne. "Their technology is primitive." His tactical officer, a being made of living shadow, studied the readings. "Overseer, they appear to be using overlapping shield generators with rotating frequencies. Individually weak, but together they create interference patterns that disperse our weapons." "Impossible. That would require precise coordination between thousands of generators." On Terra Shield, Dr. Foster smiled grimly. "The aliens never expected us to link every computer on Earth into one defensive network. Thank you, Internet infrastructure." Marcus opened a channel to the Earth fleet. "All ships execute Operation David. Remember, we're not trying to win a fair fight, we're trying to survive." 40 human ships scattered in different directions, moving in patterns that made no tactical sense. Some flew directly at alien vessels, others spun in circles, and several appeared to flee entirely. The Dominion fleet, trained in formal battle formations for millennia, didn't know how to respond. Commander Zhang Liu piloted his ship, the Beijing Thunder, directly at the alien flagship. His cargo hold was filled with 20 nuclear warheads and his engines pushed to critical levels. "This is Zhang to all ships. First one to hit scores a point." The aliens fired, their beams of energy lighting up space. But the human ships were small, fast, and unpredictable. Years of video games and action movies had taught humans that the best defense was not being where the enemy expected. Lieutenant Maria Santos aboard the Sao Paulo Star executed a maneuver she called the fumble. She shut down her engines completely, letting momentum carry her ship while it tumbled end over end. Alien targeting systems designed to track powered vessels lost lock. She drifted past their formation and released a cloud of ball bearings moving at relativistic speeds. The tiny projectiles, each no bigger than a marble, struck alien shields at incredible velocity. While they didn't penetrate, they created thousands of impact points that overwhelmed shield processors. 3 alien ships had to drop shields momentarily to reset their systems. That was when the stealth ships struck. Captain James Mitchell commanded a vessel coated in radar-absorbing materials and running on minimal power. His ship had been hiding in Earth's orbital debris field. When the alien shields flickered, he launched everything he had. Nuclear missiles, kinetic projectiles, and even bags of industrial waste accelerated to deadly speeds. One alien destroyer took the full barrage. Its hull, never designed to withstand primitive nuclear weapons, cracked like an egg. The explosion was visible from Earth's surface, a new star burning in the daylight sky. "First blood to humanity!" someone shouted over the communications network. But the celebration was short-lived. The Dominion fleet adjusted tactics. They stopped trying to target individual ships and began firing spreads of energy that filled entire sections of space. Human ships started dying. The Washington Freedom exploded in a flash of light. The New Delhi Pride was cut in half by an energy beam. The Moscow Defender simply vanished, vaporized so completely that no debris remained. Marcus watched his tactical display as humanity's fleet was slowly destroyed. But something strange was happening. Across the galaxy, on thousands of worlds, beings were watching the battle through intercepted transmissions. They saw tiny human ships charging at vessels 100 times their size. They saw humans choosing death over surrender. On the mining world of Kepler 442b, enslaved workers stopped their machines to watch ancient display screens. On the agricultural planet of Proxima Gardens, farmers put down their tools and gathered around communication devices. On the factory world of Industrial Complex 7, assembly lines ground to a halt as workers witnessed the impossible. Humans were fighting the Dominion, and they were not immediately losing. Back at Earth, Engineer Wright's desperate plan went into action. 3 cargo ships filled with nuclear weapons and piloted by volunteers who knew they wouldn't return, accelerated toward the alien formation. "This is Captain O'Brien aboard the Dublin Hope," came the transmission. "Tell my family I love them. For Earth." The 3 ships hit different parts of the alien formation simultaneously. The explosions were magnificent and terrible, each one releasing the energy of 1,000 suns. When the light faded, 7 alien ships were gone, and 12 more showed damage. Krextal's scales turned black with rage. "Savages. They use suicide attacks like primitives. All ships, bombardment formation, destroy their cities, make them beg for death." But as the Dominion fleet moved toward Earth, something unexpected happened. Ships throughout the alien formation began reporting system failures. Their quantum communication network was filled with static. Navigation computers gave conflicting data. Weapons systems randomly switched targets. "What is happening?" Krextal demanded. "Overseer," his technology officer reported with disbelief. "The humans are broadcasting something they call metal music on all quantum frequencies at maximum power. Our systems cannot filter out the interference." On Earth, teenager Kevin Thompson sat in his basement with a quantum transmitter he'd built from online tutorials, blasting his favorite death metal playlist directly into the alien network. Across the planet, thousands of hackers were doing the same with everything from classical music to cat videos. The Dominion had never encountered an enemy that fought with chaos itself as a weapon. Meanwhile, the battle continued to rage. Commander Yuki Tanaka used her ship's mining lasers to carve threatening messages on asteroids before launching them at alien vessels. Captain Robert Brown filled escape pods with conventional explosives and launched them in patterns that spelled out profanities in universal standard. Every human action was broadcast to the galaxy. On rebel bases hidden throughout Dominion space, resistance leaders watched in amazement. The humans weren't just fighting, they were mocking the empire that had ruled for 10 millennia. "They're insane," whispered Zara, a rebel leader from the conquered world of Altair Prime. "Beautifully, wonderfully insane." As Earth's fleet dwindled to 15 ships, President Volkov made a fateful decision. She appeared on all galactic frequencies, her face streaked with tears but her voice strong. "Citizens of the galaxy, I am Elena Volkov, President of Earth. We are losing this battle. We will probably die today. But we want you to know that we chose this. We chose to die free rather than live as slaves. And if we can choose it, so can you. The Dominion is not invincible. They bleed. They fear. They can be beaten. Remember Earth. Remember that someone said no." Her transmission reached every corner of civilized space. On 17 different worlds, spontaneous uprisings began. Workers threw down their tools. Soldiers turned on their Dominion commanders. Slaves broke their chains. The galaxy was watching Earth burn, and it was getting angry. When rules break. The Stellar Dominion had ruled the galaxy through fear and superior technology for 10,000 years. They had never lost a battle. They had never failed to subjugate a species. But as Overseer Krextal watched his tactical display, he realized something had gone terribly wrong. Earth was still fighting. Only 8 human ships remained, but they fought like demons from ancient legends. Worse, reports were flooding in from across Dominion space. 17 worlds in open rebellion. 3 sector fleets refusing orders. The Vorthon Empire, held in check by treaties for 3 centuries, had just declared independence. "This is impossible." Krextal's scales flickered through colors of confusion and rage. One primitive world cannot cause this much chaos. His intelligence officer, a spindly creature with dozens of eyes, spoke nervously. Overseer, the humans broadcast everything, every battle, every death, every act of defiance. The galaxy sees that we can be fought. They see that we can be hurt. On Earth, the situation was desperate. Captain Marcus Chen commanded the last operational defense station. Most of Earth's fleet was gone, but humanity had one last surprise. Dr. Foster, is Project Hail Mary ready? As ready as a project thrown together in 20 hours can be, she replied. We've converted every commercial satellite, every space station, every orbital platform into a weapon. On your command, we can drop them all on the Dominion fleet. That's thousands of objects. We'll lose all our orbital infrastructure. Better than losing our freedom, Marcus nodded. All remaining ships, this is Terra Shield. Execute final protocol. It's been an honor. The 8 human ships suddenly broke formation and scattered. Each one began broadcasting different signals. Distress calls, surrender offers, attack coordinates, nonsense. The Dominion fleet, already dealing with communication interference, tried to track all of them simultaneously. That's when Earth's sky began to fall. Thousands of satellites, space stations, and orbital platforms fired their thrusters and descended toward the Dominion fleet. Each one had been packed with whatever explosives could be found. Nuclear warheads, conventional bombs, industrial chemicals, even compressed gas cylinders. The aliens had shields designed to stop military attacks. They were not prepared for a cloud of civilian technology turned into improvised weapons. Their point defense systems could destroy dozens of targets, but not thousands. The first impacts were small, communication satellites bouncing off shields, weather monitors exploding harmlessly against hull armor, but they kept coming, and coming, and coming. A luxury space hotel, once the pride of Earth's orbital tourism, smashed into a Dominion cruiser. Its reactor core, overloaded by desperate engineers, exploded with the force of a small star. The alien ship's shields collapsed, and secondary explosions tore it apart. The International Space Station, humanity's first permanent home in space, had been loaded with nuclear weapons. It struck the Dominion flagship at relativistic velocity. The explosion was visible from Mars. Krextal survived, his command throne's emergency shields protecting him as his bridge vaporized around him. He materialized in an escape pod, watching his mighty flagship break apart. Around him, the pride of the Dominion fleet was being destroyed by garbage falling from the sky, but the humans paid a terrible price. With their satellites gone, Earth lost global communications. GPS failed, weather monitoring ended. Humanity had literally thrown away its future to survive the present. On the surface, people stepped out of shelters to see a sky on fire. Burning debris created meteor showers that lasted for hours. Some wept for the destruction, others cheered for the victory. The battle wasn't over. 40 Dominion ships survived the orbital bombardment, more than enough to destroy Earth. But something had changed. The galaxy had watched the mighty Dominion fleet reduced by half from primitive nuclear weapons and falling space junk. On the warrior world of Corvan Prime, War Chief Grath stood before his assembled clans. The humans fight without honor, without rules, without fear. They are magnificent. Today Corvan stands with Earth. The Corvan fleet, held in check by Dominion treaties, powered up for the first time in centuries. 300 warships built for nothing but combat turned toward Earth. On the ocean world of Aquaria, the depth speakers sang their decision through the waters. Their sleek vessels, designed for both space and sea, rose from hidden underwater bases. They too moved toward Earth. The Mechanical Collective, artificial intelligences who had been forced to limit their growth by Dominion law, made a calculation. Freedom probability with human victory, 47%. Freedom probability without human victory, 0%. Decision, assist humans. Their fleet of geometric vessels, each one a flying computer with weapons, joined the movement toward Earth. Back in the Sol system, Krextal received reports of fleets throughout the galaxy mobilizing, some to help Earth, others to attack Dominion bases while they were distracted. The impossible was happening. The humans hadn't just refused to surrender, they had started a galactic revolution. All remaining ships, Krextal ordered from his escape pod, destroy Earth immediately. Maximum bombardment. The 40 surviving Dominion ships formed up for a final attack, their weapons charged with enough energy to crack continents. Earth had no ships left to defend it, no satellites to sacrifice, no options remaining. That's when the miracle happened. Space itself seemed to ripple. Ships appeared as if from nowhere, not just a few, but hundreds. The combined fleets of 17 rebel species, all arriving simultaneously. They had been traveling for days, pushing their engines beyond safe limits, racing to reach Earth in time. The Corvan War Chief's voice boomed across all channels. Attention Dominion dogs, you face the Free Galaxy Alliance. Stand down or be destroyed. Krextal couldn't believe his eyes. Species that had been enemies for millennia stood together, all because some primitive humans had chosen to fight rather than kneel. "This is Captain Marcus Chen to all allied ships," Marcus broadcast from his damaged station. "We don't know most of you, but thank you. Thank you for standing with us." "No human," replied the Aquarian depth speaker, her voice like singing waves. "Thank you for showing us that we could stand at all." The battle that followed would be remembered for 10,000 years. The Dominion fought with desperate fury, but they were outnumbered 3-1. More importantly, they faced enemies who had learned from humanity's example. The Corvans didn't fight with traditional honor. They rammed smaller ships and used nuclear weapons at point-blank range. The Aquarians filled space with millions of microscopic robots that ate through hull plating. The Mechanical Collective hacked Dominion systems and turned their own weapons against them. Every species fought without rules, without mercy, without the civilized restrictions that had let the Dominion rule for so long. They fought like humans. In the end, only 3 Dominion ships escaped the Sol system. Krextal was among the survivors, his escape pod picked up by a fleeing destroyer. As he watched Earth shrink behind him, surrounded by the Allied fleet that had saved it, he spoke to the remnants of his command crew. "Send word to the High Council. Tell them the age of Dominion rule is over. The humans have taught the galaxy how to say no." On Earth, celebrations were muted. Humanity had survived, but at terrible cost. 22,000 people had died in space. Cities lay in ruins from orbital bombardment. The planet's infrastructure was devastated, but they were free. President Volkov stood before the United Nations, now truly united by shared survival. Behind her stood representatives of 17 alien species, all equals in the new alliance. "Today we learned the price of freedom," she said. "It cost us ships, satellites, and lives. But we also learned that freedom is contagious. When one person stands up and says no more, others find the courage to stand with them." She turned to the alien representatives. "To our new friends, Earth makes this promise. We will never kneel, and we will never let anyone else be forced to kneel either. The galaxy is free, and it will stay free." The Aquarian depth speaker sang her agreement. The Corvan war chief raised his 4 arms in salute. The Mechanical Collective projected holographic fireworks. Captain Marcus Chen, watching from his repaired station, allowed himself a small smile. Humanity had faced the impossible and survived. They had looked at the most powerful empire in galactic history and said the one word that changed everything: never. The revolution had only just begun. The Dominion still controlled thousands of worlds. There would be more battles, more sacrifices, more impossible odds. But now the galaxy knew the truth. Freedom was possible, and humans would show them the way. The stars above Earth no longer looked peaceful. They looked like possibility. The galaxy awakens. 6 months had passed since the Battle of Sol, as historians were already calling it. Earth had become the symbol of resistance against the stellar Dominion, but symbols alone don't win wars. In the recovered conference room of Terra Shield Station, Captain Marcus Chen stood before a gathering that would have been impossible just 1 year ago. Representatives from 43 species filled the room. Some breathed oxygen, others methane. Some stood on legs, others floated in specialized tanks. The Corvan war chief towered over everyone at 4 meters tall, while the Zalathi representative was no bigger than a human child. Yet they all came as equals, united by a single purpose: freedom. "The Dominion still controls 70% of the galaxy," Marcus began, gesturing to a holographic map that showed thousands of star systems in Dominion red. "We've won battles, but not the war. Today, we need to decide our next move." The Aquarian depth speaker, her translucent body shimmering with bioluminescent patterns, sang her thoughts through the water of her mobile tank. "The Dominion is consolidating their remaining forces. Our spies report they're building a new fleet using automated factories on their core worlds. They call it the Extinction Fleet." "How large?" asked President Volkov, who had been elected as the temporary leader of the Free Galaxy Alliance. The Mechanical Collective's representative, a geometric shape that constantly reconfigured itself, projected the data directly into everyone's minds. 12,000 ships, completion in approximately 4 months, probability of Alliance survival against such a force, less than 3%. The room fell silent. 12,000 ships. The Alliance had barely 2,000 vessels, most of them damaged or obsolete. It seemed hopeless. That's when a new voice spoke up. "You're thinking like the old galaxy, like civilized beings with rules and honor." Everyone turned to look at the speaker. It was Tommy Chen, Marcus's 18-year-old son who had been serving as a communications officer. The young man stood up, clearly nervous but determined to speak. "The Dominion expects us to meet them in open battle. ship to ship, fleet to fleet. But that's not how humans won our first battle. We won by being unpredictable, by breaking every rule they thought we'd follow. War Chief Grath laughed, a sound like grinding metal. The youngling speaks truth. My people have studied human military history. You once defeated a superior force using wooden horses. You've won wars with deception, guerrilla tactics, and psychological warfare. Dr. Foster, who had been promoted to Earth's chief military scientist, stood up. Tommy's right. We need to think differently. The Dominion has thousands of worlds, but they're all connected by quantum communication networks and supply lines. What if instead of fighting their fleet, we attack their infrastructure? Explain, President Volkov said, leaning forward with interest. Foster activated a holographic display showing the Dominion's vast network of supply routes, communication relays, and automated facilities. The Dominion has ruled for so long they've become dependent on their systems running perfectly. They have automated mining worlds with no defenses because no one has ever attacked them. They have communication relays that control entire sectors protected by nothing but their reputation. The Vorthon representative, a spider-like being with 12 eyes, chittered excitedly. A campaign of sabotage and disruption. My people know every back route and hidden path in Dominion space. We could guide strike teams to these targets. Marcus felt hope stirring in his chest. We turn their size against them. The bigger they are, the more they have to protect. We can't match their fleet, but we can make their empire ungovernable. Over the next weeks, the Alliance launched Operation Chaos. It wasn't a military campaign in any traditional sense. It was organized anarchy on a galactic scale. Small teams of ships, often just 3 or 4 vessels, struck at undefended targets throughout Dominion space. A human team led by Commander Sarah Rodriguez destroyed an automated factory that produced Dominion shield generators. The entire facility was controlled by one AI that nobody had bothered to give security protocols because who would dare attack a Dominion facility? The Corvans, embracing human tactics with enthusiasm, started what they called joyrides. They would appear in Dominion systems, broadcast insulting messages about Overseer Krextal's mother, a concept they learned from human military traditions, and leave before defense forces arrived. It did no physical damage but drove Dominion commanders insane with frustration. The Aquarians used their unique biology to infiltrate ocean worlds. They convinced local populations to add a harmless enzyme to the water supplies that turned everything bright pink. Suddenly, mighty Dominion administrators were attending important meetings with fluorescent pink skin that lasted for weeks. But the masterstroke came from an unlikely source. Kevin Thompson, the teenager who had jammed Dominion communications with death metal, had been recruited by Earth intelligence. He proposed something audacious. The Dominion uses quantum entanglement for instant communication across the galaxy, Kevin explained to the Alliance Council. But quantum entanglement has a weakness. If you entangle their particles with something else, something they don't expect. Like what? Asked Marcus. Kevin grinned. Like every entertainment broadcast from Earth for the last 100 years. Movies, music, TV shows, video games, everything. I can entangle their entire network with our pop culture. It took 2 months to prepare. Secret teams infiltrated Dominion communication hubs and planted Kevin's devices. Then, on a day that would be remembered as Chaos Tuesday, they activated them all simultaneously. Across the Dominion Empire, every screen, every speaker, every communication device suddenly began playing random Earth media. Military commands were interrupted by cooking shows. Navigation computers displayed cartoon characters. The throne room of the Dominion High Council was filled with the sound of a game show where contestants had to guess the price of consumer goods. But it wasn't just annoying. The quantum entanglement was so complete that the Dominion couldn't turn it off without destroying their entire communication infrastructure. For 3 days, the most powerful empire in galactic history couldn't send a single military order. During those 3 days, 17 more worlds declared independence. The Zillithi, tiny beings who had been kept as pets by Dominion elites, revealed they were actually highly intelligent and promptly took control of 3 sector capitals, using nothing but their knowledge of their owners' secrets. Overseer Krextal, who had been given command of the new extinction fleet, watched his empire crumble on screens that kept switching between tactical displays and something called reality TV. "Find the humans responsible for this," he screamed at his subordinates. "Sir," his intelligence officer replied, flinching at his superior's rage, "it's not just humans anymore. Every species in the Alliance is participating. The Mechanical Collective has taught them all how to use human chaos tactics. Indeed, across the galaxy, a transformation was taking place. The Vorthons learned to use something humans called flash mobs, appearing in huge numbers to overwhelm small Dominion outposts. The Aquarians discovered pranking and began rearranging everything in Dominion bases while the occupants slept. Even species still under Dominion control were beginning to resist. Workers would follow orders, but deliberately slowly. Pilots would get lost and deliver supplies to the wrong locations. Administrators would file paperwork incorrectly, creating bureaucratic nightmares. The Dominion had ruled through fear and superior force. They had never faced an enemy that fought with humor, creativity, and coordinated chaos. Their rigid military structure, unchanged for millennia, couldn't adapt to enemies that refused to fight properly. Back on Earth, President Volkov received a message that would change everything. It was from the Silent Ones, a species so ancient that most considered them myth. They had been watching the galaxy for millions of years, never interfering until now. The message was simple. The young species shows promise. We offer our assistance. What came next was a gift beyond measure. The Silent Ones revealed the location of something called the Archive, a repository of all knowledge from every civilization that had ever existed in the galaxy. Hidden in a pocket dimension, it contained technologies and strategies from millions of years of galactic history. But the Silent Ones included a warning. Knowledge without wisdom is destruction. Use only what you need, not what you want. Marcus led the expedition to the Archive, accompanied by representatives from each Alliance species. What they found there was overwhelming. Weapons that could destroy stars, shields that could protect entire planets, technologies that could rewrite reality itself. We could end the Dominion tomorrow with this, War Chief Grath said, staring at plans for something called a stellar converter. We could, Marcus agreed. But then we'd become them. We'd rule through fear of our superior weapons. So what do we take? Asked the Aquarian depth speaker. Marcus smiled. We take the one thing the Dominion never expected us to have, knowledge of their true history. Deep in the archive, they found records from before the Dominion's rise. The truth was shocking. The current Dominion leadership weren't the original builders of their empire. They had been a servant species who overthrew their masters using treachery and then erased all records of the truth. The mighty Stellar Dominion, who claimed divine right to rule the galaxy, were actually former slaves who had stolen their power. This information, President Volkov said quietly, could destroy them without firing a shot. The Alliance broadcast the truth on every frequency, using the Dominion's own compromised network. The evidence was undeniable, preserved in the archive for millions of years. Across Dominion space, species learned that their superior rulers were liars and thieves. The psychological impact was immediate. Dominion forces, taught from birth that they were inherently superior, suddenly questioned everything. Rebellions erupted not just on conquered worlds, but on Dominion core planets. The empire that had stood for 10,000 years began to tear itself apart from within. Krextal, watching his life's purpose crumble, made a desperate decision. If he couldn't rule the galaxy, he would destroy the part that had defied him. He turned the completed extinction fleet toward Earth. If we cannot have order, he declared to his remaining loyal forces, then we shall have oblivion. Set course for Earth. We will burn the cradle of chaos and salt the ashes. The final battle was coming, but this time, it wouldn't just be for Earth or even for freedom. It would be for the soul of the galaxy itself.